That'd be my advice. So,
Or it could be like a Back to the Future scenario where you go back in time, tell your spouse that, but then you'd be on a different trajectory.
yeah. Now
and before you know it, Biff has the casino and everything. And so some things are just best left, lived the way that they were lived, I guess.
Yeah, I'm assuming we have. Welcome back, everyone. Craig and Jonah here today. What do you got for us, Jonah?
Well, so the other night, my wife and I, we were out catching fireflies with the kids. And the kids run around, and she just comes over and she starts talking to me. And she said, I just would like it if you would talk to me like you would talk to, like, the girls you dated in college, or like, have those kind of conversations again. And she goes, and I'd like it if you just held my hand sometimes.
Wow.
And so the thing is that this is going to be news to, I think, people that are newly married or they're dating, thinking about what marriage is going to be like. That stuff kind of goes away, like, to a certain extent. Like, as far as the hand holding, I was very much a hand holder when we first got married. But then once you have kids, she would be out touched by the end of the day. And so, like, if I would even go to hold her hand, you get swatted, and you just get used to that. And even the conversation, as far as like talking to somebody, like having that level of conversation, that doesn't happen when you're just doing damage control constantly for years and years and years. And you're just talking about what meal you're going to have, or how to fix the washer and dryer, or take the cars for an oil change. Like, that stuff kind of goes away if you don't work at it. Well, and so I was thrilled to hear that. Wow. Like, it really made my day.
Nice.
Yeah.
So she's so have you been more mindful about it then? How long ago?
Oh, just yesterday or the day before. But okay. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have been more mindful.
Yeah. I mean,
just to think that I had totally forgotten about that, or like, it's, you just get used to not holding hands, kind of, in a weird way. It's not even that we didn't have intimacy in our marriage or anything like that especially the last couple of years, since we really, had through conversations came to be closer. But there's still always ways to improve it, and to go back to like that feeling you had on your wedding day, I guess.
We've kind of gone through that same arc. I mean, when we were dating, most evenings after, we were done with, because we were started dating in college, after school or after work, go out for these long walks, and we would just talk and hold hands. And that was a tremendous part of our pre-marriage bonding experience. And then, I'm going to stand up for myself and the guys here a little bit. That does kind of stop. And I think a lot of women, my wife included, assume we stopped doing it because I didn't care about that stuff or didn't want to do that anymore. And I think whether my perceptions were accurate or not, you get your hand swatted a few times. You're like, why do I don't do this? Like, is this, or conversations become, here's an opportunity to go through all the stupid things you've done, you dummy.
Exactly.
Negative feedback, right?
Yep.
I did not realize, and I know my wife didn't, and still doesn't realize, how much those kinds of things hurt, and how much they stifle and discourage you from opening up, and because you just don't know if you're walking into a bear trap.
It causes you to put up walls.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that was the major barrier in our marriage, is walls developed, and not because she was bad or I was bad, but they develop, and you don't even know it. And it's something that happens in the midst of life as you're busy and raising kids. And like you said, she's touched out. I totally get that. Like, I have learned, it took me a long time to figure it out, less is more. And I am not just walking through and, grabbing my wife on the backside or whatever. I mean, I pick my battles, and still sometimes I gamble wrong. but that is true, and I don't think they even realize it. Like that
Mhm.
I think so much of the struggles that people have isn't because they don't love each other or don't even want to love each other, but you're just not even aware that these things are happening.
It's
And
reflexive, like, they just know that they've had enough touching for the day, they've been breastfeeding all day,
mhm,
carrying a child all day, and they
mhm.
don't want anybody else touching them.
Yep, yep,
And they don't it doesn't and rightfully so, it doesn't occur to them how that affects
yeah,
you.
yeah. And what's and I still deal with this is what's hard about that is I totally get that. But when I come home from work and I haven't seen my wife and kids, like there's nothing that would make me more exciting than to have her come over and give me a hug and say it's nice to see you,
Oh,
right?
man, like, every guy wants that.
Yeah, like just something as simple as that. I don't need
Mhm.
you to like grab me and run to the bedroom. Just like
But that's fine too.
yeah, I'm not going to say no. Jesus. But just that acknowledgement that I'm glad that you are here,
And
not simply because I can hand the kids off, but I am happy to see you and let me embrace you or whatever.
instead of just the exhausted look and why are you 3 minutes late?
Yeah, yeah, that's. I think that
Those are
happens.
difficult situations to live out.
Yeah, that and that can that carries over in terms of how you like. I know that hurts me.
Absolutely, every time.
It creates a scar inside of you that makes opening up and seeing your spouse in a positive light more and more difficult because then psychologically they ask you to do something. I'm like, I can't even get you to like give me a hug when I come home from work. Some of the most innocuous thing. I don't have time for that. Well,
Man.
don't tell me you
Yep.
don't have time for
Yep.
that.
Oh, man, that is so true because that happens.
Yeah,
And it's not just a rare thing that
yeah,
I don't have time to give you a hug or I
yeah,
don't have time to,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And and I've seen it happen enough that I don't think. I mean, I think it's just one of the differences between men and women by and large, and one of the effects of motherhood or whatever. And I don't think I don't think she's trying to hurt me. And I don't, but it hurts. It leaves a mark, and it influences how much you engage the next time.
But it was so healing
Mm.
to hear her say that. Like it kind of erased a lot of that.
It doesn't take long to forget,
No,
right?
no,
I
yeah.
mean, um, and I think that I realize that unless you're in a truly sexless marriage, if you are still somewhat regularly being able to be intimate, that it sort of like wipes that clean.
Wipes the
You
slate clean.
forget all
Yeah.
that stuff, which is great. But it also has this effect of allowing these kind of problems to just fester and go
Undealt with.
undealt with for far too long. Like if I could emphasize anything to the younger folks out there, realize this is happening and don't just ignore it. Like just
And really, this is going to happen to you if you have kids.
yeah,
It happens to everybody, pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah. It's a huge thing, especially if one of you, generally the wife, is stay at home, um, primary
And
caretaker of the kids.
it
Like,
could be even worse if she also has a job, as far as
oh
the
yeah,
stress is,
yeah, yeah,
home and at work.
yeah. This is hard stuff.
Hmm
There's a lot of moving parts here. Um, Completely in addition to or unrelated to the moral stuff that we talk about, but there's a definitely relationship between the two of them. But you know, even if you're not paranoid and scrupulous Catholic about the bedroom stuff, you still got these things going on that you have to deal with. But as Catholics, we need to we shouldn't forget that, and we
hmm
and it's important, and hopefully people can figure out sooner.
I'll never forget somebody wrote they're a family that has like 7 kids.
Hmm.
And
Slackers.
they got married later in life
Oh,
than you. So they
okay.
I think that they had 3 kids between the ages of 40 and 43. Like so
Oh,
they picked up their
okay.
game when you're kind of finishing up there.
Yeah,
So
I'm coasting.
but anyways, on the surface, they appear to be an extremely loving family, that sort of thing. But in the wedding card, their wedding advice was don't both of you can't fall out of love at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And
Hmm.
it it at the time I thought it was such an odd comment because I was like, what on earth are they talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that everybody goes through this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's important to take the time to hold hands and talk.
Mm-hmm. There is an emotional component here, like that you can't just go through the motions and have the right thought process. You have to. There's feelings and doing things.
You can't live as roommates.
Yeah.
You can't.
Right.
Not have a thriving marriage.
Right. No, I'm very certain of that. And if we can do anything here to help people find ways to not fall into that phase, because I think once you get there, it can be really hard to get back out of
it. It's a slog. Like, I mean, we went through that for years and years of just suffering for no reason.
Right.
And we could have just talked, but it was uncomfortable to talk about.
I mean, but isn't it frustrating when you realize that maybe all it would have taken was a conversation,
And
heartfelt
part of it is that
conversation?
you have to experience it and you have to go through it to get to that point.
Yeah, I know that's the rub is like, there's benefit to going through that. I don't want to go back and go through that all again, right?
No.
Like my wife and I were talking about this the other day. If you could go back in time, we both agreed none of us would want to go back and relive all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We would much rather be living in the here and now, unless maybe if we could go back with the knowledge that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know
But then it'd be difficult to convince your former selves that this is going to be the reality and this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
So you have to live it.
Yeah. I mean, take this opportunity, at least learn some of this the less hard way if you can, or get some of these lumps once and then learn from him and don't keep doing it over and over and over again, like for 20 years, like some of us.
Yeah.
And that'd be my advice. So.
Or it could be like a Back to the Future scenario. You'd go back in time, tell your spouse that, but then you'd be on a different trajectory.
Yeah.
Now before you know it, Biff has the casino and everything. And so some things are just best left, live the way that they were lived, I guess.
Yeah. I'm assuming we haven't come up with a time machine to go back and rescue Onan because everything is stayed the same.
Instead of using a DeLorean, though, I think we should use one of those Cybertrucks.
That'll throw him for a loop.
Yeah. That's the modern DeLorean, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's probably a little easier to get around in the desert and get up to 88 miles an hour. And then
that's true. Probably in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, the torque 0 to 60. All right. Yeah. We're gonna work with Elon and we're gonna go back and fix Onan.
Yeah, if there's anybody that can make a flux capacitor, it's Elon.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. Well, that's great.
It was just a nice moment.
Did she? Yeah. I mean, did she understand that? Did she appreciated that then?
No, I don't think that she knew what that meant to me. I think she was just being honest.
Yeah. And
I don't know what, our youngest child now is 3. And so I think she's past the point of constantly having to hold her and that sort of thing. And maybe that's where this is coming from. But no, she had no idea that it meant a lot to me.
Yeah. We're in a little bit of a similar boat now where, we're at a point where our youngest is almost 2. We're not pregnant.
That's not wood.
Yeah. That's not wood. Not trying to get pregnant. And she's like, man, I forgot what it feels like to not be sick and pregnant or carrying around a newborn. And she's like, she has energy and just her overall attitude has been much better.
Yeah.
So she's grateful for that. I'm grateful for that.
That's great.
Yeah. But I guess we're just selfish Catholics now because we're going to go to hell if we don't have that one more kid or whatever.
Well, everybody just pray for us.
Yeah. Pray for us. We'll pray for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, for the one woman that listens to the show, take that advice to your marriage and
think like a self is single, right? Or is she married?
Yep. Yeah.
So that's the only woman that I know of that listens to the show.
I don't know.
She's the only one in the comments.
I'm not certain that we have any married women listening to the show. So if you are, there's your chance. Leave a comment. Let us know how many there are. Hopefully it's not 0. But
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, good luck to you, Jonah. We'll have to check in next week to see if this has been marriage transformation.
Oh, I think it will be. Yeah.
All right. Good. I'm
Sounds
rooting
great.
for you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jonah. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And until next time, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good one.